Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. So this is my event information video. I always tend to do one of these every time I go to an event at the Warhammer World or wherever GW holds their events. This is basically my thoughts and feedbacks of the event, all the information I gathered, showing off some of the images I've got, talking about some of the models and all the information which I managed to gather. Of course, I've just come back from Warhammer World, so I am a bit tired. It's altogether, it's like a 4-hour drive there and back. So if I've missed any information out, I'm going to be doing a live stream tomorrow, and hopefully you chaps can come and join and you can ask questions, and I'll do my best to try and answer your questions there as well. If you've got any questions as right now, put them in the comment section and I'll do my best to try and answer you straight away. But straight after I post this, I'm probably going straight to bed. So when it came to seeing new stuff there, the only new stuff which wasn't previewed actually on the Warhammer community site, because what happened before we actually went in, like we were queuing up, I think it was about 9:45 and the doors open at 10. At 9:45, or around like 10 to 10, the actual article itself went up on the Warhammer community website. So me and the chaps at the front of the line were just watching like all the trailers, waiting for the actual doors to open, and we saw all the new models and stuff like that actually waiting in line. There was a couple of people who came a long way and were quite upset the way GW did that. I can definitely understand how, you know, when people are spending a lot of money to drive there and stuff, and GW put the article up even before the doors have even opened. I think that's quite a bit naughty from GW themselves. But once we got in there and we got to see all the models, absolutely amazing, fantastic models. Some of the new G-Steel Occultist models are just sheer awesome. I'm so tempted to start a G-Steel Occultist force, but I have too many forces. I got my Imperial Fist, my Crimson Fist, my Imperial Guard, all those kind of forces to go yet before I even think about touching another armor. They had a nice bit of scenery there as well, part of the G-Steel Occultist force, which again is incredible. That's like an awesome big massive drill. You see in the screenshots I've got when I took pictures of it at the event. I did ask about the codex because I didn't see the codex anywhere, and they said there'll be more information about that soon. It's basically what they normally say. You know, when you ask something and you're trying to want to get that kind of information, it's they normally say I can't talk about that now, or there'll be more information coming about that soon. That is the information that I got when I asked about the GT, the codex, and that goes with the same when these chaps are coming out. I asked that and I got the same answer. There will be information up very, very soon. So I probably see the Gene Stealers getting released end of this month. That's just my theory of it anyway. I think the first part of this month is probably going to be the AOS Grots, as I like to call them. I completely forgot the name, and then probably the second half of this month will be the Gene Steel Occultist, hopefully anyway. And with Blackstone Fortress, we got the brand new expansion, which is the Amble. It comes with all the rules. Again, I've got pictures in the background what I took. You can see like all the cards and all that kind of awesome stuff. The model is incredible, absolutely fantastic model. This is the kind of quality content I love to see from GW. Completely amazing model. I was probably hoping for something like I don't know why, I was hoping for something like a Thunder Warrior is going to be like roaming the Blackstone Fortress. I don't know why, my mind goes to weird places. I know there's probably not even a Thunder Warrior still walking around now, but you know, maybe Trajan's got one frozen somewhere in status. But yeah, I was expecting something, you know, like kind of edgier, kind of like that. But the Amble is fantastic, amazing looking model, as you can see from the images. It's plastic, fantastic. Yeah, cannot wait to see the rule set and all that kind of stuff, and see what it can actually do when you fight with it. Now, one of the big things I went to this event for was the Forge World team, because I wanted information on the Talons of the Emperor book, and also ask for some information of the Fire of Crexus for you people who still have hope for that book. I'm probably leaning towards that kind of hope now for the Talons of the Emperor book, because I went there and there was two chaps behind the desk, and I asked, is there any information about the Talons of the Emperor book? The last event I came to in Vigilus, they basically said they couldn't talk about it because it's like kind of a Vigilus event, and they were more or less trying to plug the new Titan, which again was on show. It's a fantastic looking model, amazing, but I don't think I'd ever have a Titan. And they basically said, sorry, we have no information. You'll need to speak to the rules writer. So I asked, where is the Forge World rules writer? and they said that they don't think there is one here today. I kept going back to the desk in case one showed up, but as far as I'm aware, there was no Forge World rules right around, so I couldn't get any information about the Talons of the Emperor book or Fires over Craxus, anything like that. So for you chaps who wanted some information about that, super sorry. I'm desperate for some news on the Talons of the Emperor book, because I've got a massive custody force, and most of my custody force is actually from Horus. Sorry, from the Forge World shop, all my dreadnoughts and stuff. So hopefully I can get some, proper rules and all that kind of stuff with that very soon. Hopefully maybe something will happen at the Horus Heresy Weekender, but again, that's the Horus Heresy Weekender, so I don't think they'll even talk about it at that event. But fingers crossed, maybe something will pop up at that event when it comes to the Talons of the Emperor book. A new product which was shown off, this was actually talked about at the Vigilus event, was Urban Conquest. It's basically a campaign system game where you build... Technically, you build your own hive city, and then you and friends fight over that said hive city, and you gain points and all that kind of stuff. You can see some of the box, the screenshots I took of the box and stuff like that. There's no models, actual player models in this box. There is scenery models. I asked the chap behind the desk, do these sceneries have some kind of special rules? He whipped the rule book out because he said, just 1 second and I'll check. So he went through the rule book right in front of me, and he said, no, there's no rules for the scenery. They're just scenery for stuff like, barricades to spice your map up, or he said something like, some of them could be used as cool objectives and all that kind of stuff. The scenery looks nice, but I expected, I don't know, maybe I'm just a bit too spoiled. I expected maybe like some HQ characters in there, or some kind of fancy model, any kind of race. I'm not saying it has to be Space Marine, but any kind of race, just to try and to get that incentive to buy that box, because at the moment I'm not really dragged towards buying it. I think it would be a really cool system to try out and do, but if you're just getting the cards and a bit of scenery, then it's something that I'm not going to prioritize straight away. One of the conversations I had at the event was with the White Dwarf chaps, because if you don't know, there was a Codex Astartes Crimson Fist in the White Dwarf, and I actually went out and I actually bought the White Dwarf there. That was probably my first White Dwarf purchase in a few years because of that Codex supplement, because the rules in there for the Crimson Fist are really good. So I brought this up to the chap saying, is this basically just like a one-off? Is this just like a kind of special thing you chaps are going to be doing, or is it, are you going to see more? And he said definitely you're going to see a lot more stuff like this in White Dwarf, and it's not just going to be Space Marines. He said, he made that clear, it's not just going to be Space Marines. They're going to be doing it for stuff that they feel needs these kind of buffs, let's say. He did say stuff like Xenos, the Imperial Guard. I mentioned stuff like Black Templars from my friend Seti. Will that chapter be getting that kind of love, because at the moment they don't really have that much speciality when it comes to Primaries Marines. And again, he said to me that would be amazing, we would love to do something like that. Again, that's not confirming anything, but he said he would love to do something like that for the Black Templars. So fingers crossed that Templars will get some love when it comes to those kinds of stuff. So I'm super excited that White Dwarf is going to be doing that. It's definitely going to make me go out and buy more White Dwarfs. The only problem I see with that is I don't really want to turn it into where I'm taking like 3 or 4 White Dwarfs to a game with me just so I can use those rules. Hopefully they'll come out in some kind of book format where it's all together. I didn't even think about asking him about that at the time, and something I actually regret, because that is something I would love to get an answer for. We got a Kill Team expansion at the event as well, which was again pretty cool. I'm a massive fan of Kill Team. This one, as soon as I saw it, I actually thought it was Necromunda. I thought it was connected to the Necromunda stuff, because there was a lot of Necromunda, like the new heads, some of like the new robot ones, what they called, Am something again. They've shown them off, and I actually thought this was connected to the actual Necromunda stuff, but it's not. It's actually its own expansion now. It's very close quarters. They were saying to me, it basically puts it right in your face, which again is really cool, because I love cheesing it with the Deathwatch Storm Shield tactic. So I love all that kind of stuff when it comes to Kill Team. The new terrain they shown off with like the buildings and stuff. stuff, again, was really, really incredible. It's in the background. I got some close-up shots of all that kind of stuff. I said to my friend next to me, I think this is the first time I've ever seen a GW terrain set with an intact roof, like no damage to it at all. It's actually just, it's just a normal GW building. Am I right in saying that? Can anyone find like another GW building which has its roof intact? I cannot think of one at the moment, so I thought that was a real nice feature to that terrain. Again, smashed it out of the park with the Kill Team stuff. I was expecting something like Kill Team Inquisition, because I think it would work so well, but I'd gladly take this if it's the close quarter combat stuff they were saying. Then I'm actually happy with this, because I love all that kind of gameplay. Now on to Primaris, because I won't say I'm annoyed, but I probably overhype myself, as I normally do. Valrak overhyping himself for events? Never. So I basically went in there thinking maybe Phase 2 is going to be announced for the Primaris range. Sadly, there was nothing like that. The main focus was on the Genestealer cults, which I expected, and the AOS Grots, which I expected as well. And by the way, the AOS Grots look completely amazing balls. I'm not really a fan of AOS, as you know. I'm not saying that as like a bad thing. I'm just saying I'm not a fan of the storyline, so that's why I'm not really involved in that game. But the models are some of the best models I've ever witnessed GW make. They're absolutely fantastic. There was a lot of presence at that area of the event, which is very, very cool. It shows that AOS is definitely getting a foothold, and it's definitely getting some traction as well. So I was speaking to one of the Citadel designers, and if I'm not mistaken, I think it was the chap who actually designed Calgar. He pimped him up to Primaris. So the subject of the conversation I had with this chap is about characters, new characters being coming over to the Primaris range. I stated that, of course, we've had the whole Calgar saga with Calgar getting Primaris sized up. Is that the intention now of GW to do that with the old characters? He said basically Calgar is the first one of the old characters. He sees more old characters and getting the same treatment as Calgar for what those characters are. He didn't state. He also stated, well, I asked the question, what about having actual new characters introduced, like not old characters reimagined as Primaris, new Primaris characters who have got their own renown by doing deeds and stuff like that. And he said that's definitely something he wants to do, because it's a whole new design process. Then when you do upgrade to a Primaris, you kind of have to keep with the same design as the previous one, where if you're making new characters and stuff, then you can let your imagination run wild a bit. So if that does happen, which I really hope it does, because I think there should be Primaris characters out there which are characters because they've made a difference, and not just old characters which have just been pimped up to Primaris size. So hopefully we'll be seeing some of them very, very, very soon. You know me, I got onto the subject of Primaries Transports. I was explaining to him, when the Phase 2 does happen, I'm really, really hoping that there's some kind of transport vehicle involved with the Primaris. And he gave me a smirk and said, you're not the first person to mention this to me. I've had this mentioned at previous events. I think I may have even mentioned it to this guy at a previous event. I explained, like, even though I love the Repulsor, don't get me wrong, I love the Repulsor, but when I bring it onto the tabletop, it's not really a transport anymore, because it's basically a tank. It has the DACA of a tank, so the player sees it as a tank. He doesn't see it as a transport. So it's all guns on that, because if I don't neutralize it, then it's all guns on me. So if it gets a couple of wounds on it, then it's really, really slow moving across the board. So it's really not a transport anymore, and with the point cost added to it, it's not really worth taking for a transport. So I tried to explain my best to him to say, if we can, please just get like just a dedicated transport. No shiny big DACA guns on it, just a nice hover box which will get me from A to B in the most gentlemanly fashion possible. Alright chaps, I'm going to call the video at that, because I'm a bit tired, like I mentioned at the start of the video. Again, I'll be doing a live stream tomorrow. We can have a nice little chat about it, do some nice Q&A with some of the stuff which I'm trying to think if I've missed anything out. I'll probably come back to me after I've closed my eyes and had a nice little rest. Thank you for watching the video. Again, if you've got any questions at all, post them below and I'll do my best to try and answer you back and try and give you that information to that question. All in all, absolutely fantastic, great day out. Love meeting all the other people I got to meet, or we always have banter, we always have a bit of fun. I love going to these events, mostly for the social interaction of meeting people, saying hello, and just having a nice time and talking Warhammer with fellow fans. So thank you all for the kind reception, and I'll see you all very, very soon. See you in a bit, and bye-bye.